Babe, I will never walk away from what we have, because what we have was not built in a moment of excitement but in seasons of understanding, in nights of honest conversations, in mornings where we chose each other without hesitation, and I remember when our story was just beginning, when we were still learning how to read each other's silences, when every small gesture felt new and meaningful, and even then I felt something different. Something deeper than temporary emotion, something that whispered quietly that this connection was not meant to be fragile, and as time moved forward and life tested us in ways we did not expect, I saw how real love is not proven in comfort but in commitment. Not in perfection but in perseverance, and there were moments when misunderstandings tried to create distance, when stress from the outside world tried to enter our space, when exhaustion made silence feel easier than explanation, but even in those moments there was always a thread pulling us back to each other, a reminder that what we share is worth protecting, worth nurturing, worth fighting for with patience and humility. And I learned that walking away is easy when pride is loud, but staying requires strength, and loving you has made me stronger than I ever thought I could be, because you taught me that vulnerability is not weakness, that opening your heart fully is not a risk when it is placed in hands that value it. And I have seen the way you care, the way you listen, the way you encourage me when doubt tries to cloud my vision, and those small acts of love are not small at all, they are blessings that shape the future we are building, and I want you to know that every time I look at you I see not only the person I fell in love with but the partner I respect deeply, the soul I trust completely, the heart I choose intentionally. And choosing you is not a temporary decision, it is a daily commitment that I renew quietly in my mind and loudly in my actions, because real love is not sustained by words alone but by consistency, by showing up even on ordinary days, by being patient when emotions run high, by apologizing when necessary, by forgiving quickly, by protecting the bond instead of trying to win arguments, and I promise to continue practicing those habits because what we have deserves maturity, it deserves effort, it deserves loyalty without conditions, and I know that life will not always be smooth, there will be unexpected challenges, moments of uncertainty, days when responsibilities feel heavy. But I do not fear those days when I think about us, because I have seen how we handle storms, how we return to conversation instead of distance, how we choose unity over ego, and that choice is powerful, it is rare, it is the foundation of something that lasts beyond temporary feelings. And babe, when I say I will never walk away from what we have, I mean that I will stand beside you when dreams feel distant, when progress feels slow, when doubt tries to whisper lies about our future, I will remind you of your strength, of your resilience, of your worth, because I see it clearly even when you do not, and loving you has inspired me to become better, to discipline my mind, to focus my energy, to align my actions with the life we want to create, and that transformation is a blessing I carry with gratitude, because not everyone finds a love that pushes them toward growth instead of comfort, and I want our story to continue evolving with purpose, with shared ambition, with mutual respect, with deep emotional connection that does not fade with time but deepens with understanding. And as we move forward, I want to build a life where we celebrate each other's victories without jealousy, where we face challenges without blame, where we communicate openly without fear, where our home feels safe and peaceful no matter what the outside world looks like, and that safety begins with commitment. With the promise that walking away is not an option simply because things become difficult, and I believe that forever is not found, it is created, it is built brick by brick through patience, through forgiveness, through consistent effort, and I am ready to build that forever with you intentionally, faithfully, passionately. And I still remember the first time you truly understood one of my fears without me having to explain it completely, the way you responded with calm reassurance instead of judgment, and in that moment I realized that love is not about being perfect for each other, it is about being safe for each other, and you are my safe place. Not because life is always easy with you but because honesty is always possible with you, and that honesty is the reason our connection feels so strong, so real, so alive. And there may be days when we are tired, when stress affects our mood, when misunderstandings arise, but even on those days my heart remains steady in its choice. Because what we share is larger than a single moment, it is rooted in trust, in shared values, in respect that does not disappear when emotions fluctuate, and I pray that as we continue this journey we remain humble, that we remain grateful for each other, that we never allow routine to replace appreciation, that we continue to speak kindly even when we disagree, that we protect our peace fiercely, that we grow individually while strengthening our unity, and I believe that when two people commit to growth instead of comfort, their love becomes unstoppable, it becomes a force that carries them through seasons, through years, through changes, and I want to look back one day and see a story marked not by perfection but by perseverance. By moments where we chose each other again and again despite obstacles, despite fear, despite uncertainty, and babe, I promise to be present, to listen fully, to support sincerely, to love deeply, to remain loyal in action and in thought, because what we have is not ordinary, it is a blessing that deserves protection, and I feel it every time we laugh over something small, every time we share a quiet moment without needing words, every time we encourage each other to keep moving forward toward our dreams. And I know that love is not measured by intensity alone but by endurance, by the willingness to stay, to adapt, to evolve together, and I am willing, wholeheartedly willing, to stay, to adapt, to evolve with you, to protect this bond from negativity, from pride, from unnecessary distance, because our connection is sacred to me, and I hold it with gratitude, with strength, with unwavering faith in us, and no matter how high we rise or how far we travel, no matter what challenges we encounter or victories we celebrate, my promise remains steady and clear, babe, I will never walk away from what we have. Because what we have is built on intention, strengthened by resilience, guided by love that is real and deeply rooted, and as long as we continue choosing each other with honesty and courage, our story will keep unfolding into something even more powerful, even more beautiful. even more blessed than we ever imagined. Babe, I will never walk away from what we have, not now, not when life feels heavy, not when misunderstandings try to create silence between us, not when the world outside becomes loud and chaotic, because what we have is not something that appeared overnight, it is something that grew slowly through shared moments, through deep conversations at hours when the rest of the world was asleep, through laughter that healed unspoken wounds, through tears we did not hide from each other, and I think about how rare it is to find someone who sees beyond your strengths and still chooses you after discovering your flaws, someone who understands your past without using it against you, someone who listens to your fears without judging your vulnerability. And that is who you are to me. You are the calm in my confusion, the reassurance in my doubt, the steady presence that reminds me that love is not about perfection but about partnership, and partnership means staying even when staying requires effort. It means holding hands not only when it is easy but when it feels necessary to prevent distance from growing. And I know that life will continue to test us in unexpected ways. There will be days when we are tired from responsibilities, when stress tries to shorten our patience, when silence feels safer than speaking honestly, but I promise to choose honesty, to choose communication, to choose you, because walking away might feel easier in a moment of frustration. But building something lasting requires courage, and loving you has taught me courage. It has taught me to slow down my pride, to listen before reacting, to value our peace more than my temporary emotions, and I have seen how you do the same, how you soften your tone when conversations become intense, how you reflect instead of accusing, how you try to understand my perspective even when we disagree. And those efforts are not small gestures, they are proof that our love is mature, that it is growing beyond feelings into commitment, and commitment is what transforms love into something powerful enough to withstand storms. And babe, I feel that power every time we overcome something that once seemed difficult. Every time we apologize sincerely, every time we forgive without holding on to resentment, every time we come back stronger after a challenge, and those moments remind me that we are not fragile, we are resilient, we are learning, we are evolving together, and I do not want a love that only survives in comfort, I want a love that thrives in growth, that becomes deeper with time, that strengthens with experience, that transforms both of us into better versions of ourselves, and that is exactly what is happening, because loving you has changed the way I see the future, it has made me think long term, it has made me plan with intention, it has made me value stability, loyalty, and emotional security more than anything temporary. And I want to build a life where we continue encouraging each other's dreams, where your goals matter to me as much as my own, where we celebrate progress together and face setbacks together, where we remind each other that success is sweeter when shared and burdens are lighter when carried as a team. And I imagine us years from now looking back at this season and realizing that these moments of growth were preparing us for something even greater, something steady and unshakable, and I pray that we never allow ego to be louder than love, that we never allow outside negativity to influence the bond we protect, that we never stop expressing gratitude for each other, because appreciation keeps love alive. It prevents routine from replacing affection. It reminds us that what we have is not ordinary, it is a blessing, and I feel that blessing every time you look at me with sincerity, every time you support me without hesitation, every time you believe in us with quiet confidence, and that confidence gives me peace. It gives me assurance that no matter what challenges arise, we will face them side by side. Not as opponents but as partners, and babe, I promise to keep growing, to keep learning how to love you better, to understand you more deeply, to protect our connection from unnecessary harm, to nurture it with patience and kindness, because I know that forever is not guaranteed by words alone. It is built daily through actions, through consistency, through small decisions that prioritize unity over division, and I choose that unity wholeheartedly. I choose to stay present, to listen carefully, to support fully, to love intentionally, and I want you to feel secure in that choice. I want you to feel confident that my commitment is not fragile, that it does not disappear when circumstances shift, that it remains steady even when emotions fluctuate, because real love is not about constant intensity, it is about constant dedication, and I am dedicated to us, to the story we are writing, to the future we are shaping, to the peace we are cultivating, and as long as we continue meeting each other with honesty and respect, as long as we continue choosing understanding over assumption, as long as we continue fighting for connection instead of distance, I know that what we have will only grow stronger, deeper, more beautiful with time, and that is why I say it again with clarity and conviction, babe, I will never walk away from what we have, because what we have is worth every conversation, every lesson, every effort, every season. And I am grateful beyond words that I get to build this life with you, babe. I will never walk away from what we have, and as I say that now, in this final chapter of everything my heart has been trying to express, I realize that this promise is not just about staying, it is about building. About protecting, about nurturing something that heaven allowed us to find in a world where real connection is rare, and when I look back at our journey I don't just see memories, I see evidence, evidence of two imperfect people choosing growth over pride, choosing communication over silence, choosing forgiveness over resentment, and that choice, repeated again and again, is what makes our love powerful. Because anyone can love when everything feels easy, but it takes depth to love when emotions are complicated, when timing is challenging, when life feels uncertain, and yet through every shift, every misunderstanding, every moment where we could have drifted apart, we leaned closer instead. And that is not luck, that is intention, that is two hearts recognizing that what they share is too valuable to lose. And I remember the quiet nights when we talked about our fears, when we admitted the parts of ourselves we don't show the world, when we allowed vulnerability to replace defense. And in those moments I understood that love is not about grand gestures alone. It is about safety, about knowing that your heart is held gently, about trusting that your weaknesses will not be used against you, and you have always held my heart with care, even when I didn't fully understand myself, even when I struggled to express what I was feeling, and that patience you showed me became one of the greatest blessings in my life. Because it taught me how to love you better, how to listen more deeply, how to slow down and value understanding over winning, and as we stand where we are now, stronger than before, wiser than before, more aligned than ever, I feel a calm certainty that what we are building is meant to last, not because it is flawless but because it is rooted in respect, in friendship, in shared values that go beyond temporary emotion. And I want our future to be filled with intention. I want us to wake up years from now still choosing each other with the same conviction, still speaking kindly even when we disagree, still celebrating each other's growth without insecurity, still protecting our peace from anything that tries to disturb it. And I know there will be seasons of change, moments when responsibilities increase, times when exhaustion tests our patience, but I also know that we have already proven our resilience, we have already shown that we can adapt, that we can evolve, that we can face challenges as a team instead of opponents, and that teamwork is our strength. It is the foundation that keeps us steady when circumstances shift, and babe, loving you has expanded my understanding of what commitment truly means. It is not just saying I'm here, it is showing up consistently, it is being mindful of your feelings, it is choosing words carefully, it is protecting your heart even in moments of frustration, it is apologizing sincerely. It is forgiving fully, it is refusing to let temporary emotions destroy something permanent, and I promise to continue practicing that kind of love, a love that is disciplined, patient, and intentional, a love that matures instead of fades, and I pray that we never stop growing together, that we never become complacent, that we continue learning each other in new seasons, discovering new layers of connection, creating new memories that remind us why we started this journey in the first place. And when I imagine our future, I see laughter filling our home, I see conversations that last late into the night, I see support during difficult times, I see us standing side by side through achievements and challenges. I see a partnership built on trust so strong that doubt cannot break it, and I feel grateful, deeply grateful, that out of all the paths our lives could have taken, they led us to each other, because you are not just my love, you are my peace, my encouragement, my safe place in a restless world, and I do not take that lightly, I hold it with reverence, with appreciation, with a desire to protect it fiercely, and so as this chapter closes, as these words settle into your heart, let them remain there as a reminder that my commitment is steady, that my loyalty is intentional, that my love